I'm so glad that you all stuck around through the warm-up acts for the real show, right? Yes! Come on! Okay, first of all, I'm sure you're all starving for lunch. Who's hungry? Okay, and raise the other hand if you have Wolt. Okay, so now check who's hungry and who doesn't have Wolt. Give them your sort of the referral code, and you both get €5. Super deal. Networking, right? Okay, I'm going to do my speak bilingually, as was the sort of thing about this event. So I'm going to swear in Swedish. No, my slides are in Finnish. I thought it was in Finnish, so, you know, whatever. Today I'm going to talk about the digitalization of food and some things about mobile and how Wolt is sort of trying to conquer this thing. And yeah, I skipped the slide about Wolt because you all know Wolt, right? We do food through mobile. Awesome. I'm first going to tell a couple of stories about how Wolt came to be, then the mobile stuff, and then how we win. Okay, so food. I'm so hungry now. So I met with Mickey, and since we're like young men and we have no sort of experience with life and whatnot, we just finally left home where mommy was cooking. So we got acquainted with like restaurant food, and we were like, you know, let's make an application for food. And we were looking around and realized that no one was really doing that. And this was early 2014. It was like this pizza online, right? But it's like a website. No one had made an app for food. So we were like, yeah, we're first in the market, awesome. And why did we make it for mobile? Was obviously that, you know, these days, mobile, right? There's really nothing else. That's, by the way, that's like torture, you know? You realize that all of them have the description is in Latin or whatever, and you're like, what the hell is that thing? Wow, okay. So we decided to go mobile and food. And the founding team was 6 people, like all good governments. And as we know, 6 people is kind of difficult to work with. So we met in early 2014, and we founded the company in late 2014. And for that 6 months plus, we actually fought over the name. Because when you have 6 founders, it's like very hard to come up with anything that everybody likes, right? I actually met the chairman of Grafia, Antero Jokinen, at Vuoden Huiput. And he was like, Wolt is a case example how names don't matter anymore for companies because you have such a shitty name. And I was like, dude, we spent half a year coming up with that. That's kind of rude. I wanted to call the company Hindenburg, and it won the Street Gallop. We did that. Or Zeppelin. Both were good. Anyway, by the time we were ready with the name, we realized that there's a lot of competition out there. And the thing is, they kind of like if you look at like January 2014, yes, they were founded before that, but it's like the news trickles down slowly. And back when we founded the company, for example, Foodora didn't really exist, and Deliveroo had raised 2 million, and both of these days have like 200 million or whatever. So, yeah, the timing. I think we still got a good shot, so we're not worried about that, but there's definitely a lot of competition in this field, and that's because food is huge, right? Okay, so then we went into delivery. We started without delivery. People are like, whoa, you pivoted into delivery. No, we were just hoping to be lazy. So we were always thinking about delivery. We were like thinking, well, someone's going to figure out this like micro logistics thing. We'll just plug into the API and like concentrate on our core product, which is like the UI for delivery, for ordering, until we realized that our core product is the whole thing. And it's something that we painfully learned after using like a subcontractor for delivery, that you really have to own the whole process. So I'm personally waiting for the day we can replace the restaurants. Don't tell them that! Luckily, I'm just the software guy, so I don't get to decide. Anyway, we did delivery, and then things really picked off, and then here's the current situation. We got 4 cities, 3 in Finland, 1 in Stockholm. We got over 500 restaurants that are accepting deliveries every week. So, you know, if there's a restaurant that didn't accept, we wouldn't count that. We got over 60 employees, plus 300 or so couriers. And yeah, 120,000 registered users in Finland. And then we do tens of thousands of orders per week. It's pretty good. We've basically been operational for a year, with home delivery a bit over half a year. So, good numbers so far. Okay, about mobile. Here's the top grossing applications from the USA. You know, when you're talking about mobile, you kind of want to make money there, because we are like, of course, customers, we want to make business, right? So you look at the top grossing, who makes money in the App Store? And you realize that, like, Spotify, number 3, all the music in the world, is worth less than a yelling man. And this is like, this is universal truth, right? Yelling men, bigger than music. This is an old version. The current one is this: the yelling man has changed. But it's, if you want to make an app that makes a lot of money, you know, the icon design is easy, you know, right? Okay. Anyway, this is not to say that like free-to-play games are like the best way to make, or like are worth than all the music, or worth more than all the music in the world. No, the problem is that it's very hard to monetize things on the mobile. It's very hard to monetize content. The first newspaper is like New York Times, and it's like 50th on the list. And then there's like Double Down Casino makes about 100 times more money than New York Times on mobile. That's kind of sad, because in Double Down Casino, you can't win any money. It's a casino game where you can't win. It's just you pay for it just for the fun of it, right? So you're wondering probably like, well, Uber is not on the list. That's like worth 62 billion. Shouldn't it be here? Shouldn't it be making a lot of money? Well, obviously, it's making a lot of money, but it's not making it through in-app purchases, right? It's not content, it's real life. So when we're thinking about, well, what should we do? When we're starting a company, we realized, well, we were going to make our business in real life. Do you have any guess how many people have driven, not ridden, but driven, like an Uber car? Made money using Uber platform? Over 2 million people. What the hell? If you look at the list of biggest employers in the world, there's obviously Department of Defense, because you know. But the first commercial one, after all the armies, is Walmart, 2.1 million. Now, okay, Uber drivers, not full-time, not all of them currently drive that, but anyway, like the scope and the scale of Uber is just mind-boggling. Mind-boggling, it's massive. And you might think, why is that? And then we look at this slide. Bam. Okay. And this is a slide that we looked at when we decided to found Wolt. Is that where is all this money going? What are people spending money on, right? And actually, entertainment, where all the apps that you saw, like all the games, all the yelling men, all Spotify's, they are 5% of the spend that we actually spend as consumers. Transportation is 18%. That's a lot bigger. Then there's housing, where there's like Airbnb and whatnot. That's even bigger. And then there's the next biggest one is, oh yeah, food. And we realized that, well, you know, there's a hole we could fit in. It's only 12% of all the money in the world, you know. The strange thing though is that, like, European-wide is about 1% or 2% of all the food expenditure is digital. It's like this much. Whereas, like, the the entertainment is obviously massively digitalized already. So there's just so much potential in the market. So next time you're like wondering what application should I make, look at this and be like, yeah, it's not the entertainment one, unless you're willing to make the yelling man. There's a lot of markets that are big, a lot of markets that could use a good service. Well, here's the graph, by the way. This is the Topgrossing and how much money they're actually making. And you see that the top one makes like 10 times more than the number 11. So this is even more sad for the New York Times, because it's like nothing, right? But the same graph kind of works for, you know, your app on your phone. There's like 5 apps that you use, and then you have 60 apps, but the number 60 is like you never use that. It's phone, it's Snapchat, it's Tinder. I don't know what you actually end up using. Hey, honey. Anyway, so when you're making an app, you really need to make sure that your app is one of the 5 or 6. And this is a big question when you're making an application. Should you sort of rent or should you own? And when we're talking about restaurants, and some people are like, well, aren't you afraid of like McDonald's making their own app? Well, they have an app. And we're like, no. How many times do you potentially see yourself eating at McDonald's? Like once a week if you're super hardcore, once a month if you're human, once a day if you're me. So anyway, we feel that you have to be super frequent if you want to make an application, and a single brand just doesn't cut it in the food because you just can't stomach it. There's no way, no food. But people are like, well, what about Starbucks? Starbucks is super successful. Well, it's coffee. It's super different because you can drink the same coffee every day, but you can't eat McDonald's every day. So we feel that what's going to happen is, especially in this industry, but in a lot of the other industries as well, is that it's going to become this integrated service.